In the rich marine world of Cato Bay, I was the only intruder. Small wonder. These were cold waters for diving, even in a wetsuit. But I wasn't down here for fun. A hard-headed construction company was paying me for every chill. That's how I keep eating. My name's Mike Nelson. It was a survey job, plotting the problems that the engineers would have to solve in running a pipeline across the bottom of the bay. I'd been at it a week now. I was just about halfway across. Except for the zero-type weather, I'd run into no trouble to speak of. This job was so routine, I had to keep reminding myself, the way a driver does on a turnpike, to check my gauges and observe the other rules of survival, like quitting at the right time. I didn't notice the dinghy tied to the stern of my boat. It turned out that I should have.
Mike Nelson, isn't it?
Ah, that's right. You, make a little tour of my boat?
Uh-huh.
I don't think we've met, have we?
No, reckon not. I'm Sheriff Walsh. Ed here is my deputy.
What can I do for you?
You're under arrest.
I'd been diving in Cato Bay all week. The few people I'd met hadn't seemed very friendly, but I hadn't thought they'd meant anything by it. Now I knew better. I'd just been arrested. But why?
Law's the law, Mr. Nelson.
You mean there's no diving in these waters?
That's right. These waters have been restricted for more than a year now.
All I'm doing is making a survey.
It makes no difference what you're doing. You can't do it.
But the Twin State Construction Company has hired me to do this job. They intend to lay a pipeline across the bay for communication lines.
Oh, they do they?
If you don't believe me, you can check. There's a ship-to-shore radio phone.
Oh, I don't have to check. These waters have been restricted for any kind of diving now. There's an ordinance on the book that says so. Let's don't have any more argument about it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Call the biggest corporation lawyer you got. Ain't nobody big enough to say you're going to dive here when I say you ain't.
Coast Guard, this is WM-205, over. Coast Guard, WM-205, over. Sheriff Walsh didn't seem to care that the pipeline project tied in with national defense. The Coast Guard cared a lot. Commander Cornelius said he'd look into it at once. But all this time, my boat was heading away from the base, toward Cato City, with Walsh's deputy at the wheel. Oh, Cato Bay doesn't seem the same somehow. Cato City either, for that matter.
Same as what?
As it did the last time I was here, about 3 years ago. Used to be a ferry line across the bay, wasn't there?
Yeah, we got rid of that. Been lots of changes around here lately.
Good ones?
We think so, mister. We got Frank Johnson to thank for that. Running the Fisherman's Cooperative now.
He is, huh?
Yes, he is. And that's what keeps Cato City going, and the folks in it able to hold body and soul together. You couldn't do that when Craig was running things. Unless you'd want to get down on your knees to him.
Yeah, I remember. He was kind of a dictator, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. But Frank Johnson's as good a man as Craig was a bad one. He's made Cato City a good place to live in. And I aim to keep it that way.
How? By arresting me?
Like the Coast Guard?
Uh-huh. Hi, Lieutenant.
Commander Cornelius radioed us. You running into some kind of difficulty on your survey?
Yeah. Sheriff Walsh doesn't like the idea of anything swimming around in the water that isn't a fish.
What do you mean?
Ask him.
I don't get it, Sheriff.
Well, we got an ordinance against diving, and I aim to see it's enforced.
You know, that sounds like a peculiar ordinance. I'd like to have a look at it.
Oh, no, that won't be necessary. You don't have to go to all that trouble.
No trouble at all. Let's make for port.
It turned out that there wasn't any ordinance, and that the sheriff of Cato City had no jurisdiction in Cato Bay. Wyatt Walsh decided to make trouble for me just now, after leaving me alone all week. Maybe I'd suddenly come close to something that he didn't want me to find in Cato Bay. So, I headed back to find it. I must have been wrong. I'd searched the bottom of this ice bucket for the best part of an hour, and I hadn't come near finding a thing. The middle of a bay is an odd place to find anything that didn't originally belong in a boat. And this sure didn't. It was a license plate for a commercial vehicle, a truck, I'd say. It had been issued about 3 years back. What was it doing here? No, it wasn't my problem. But something told me it would be worth my while to solve it. My boat was gone. My diving flag, too. That meant someone had cut her adrift. Walsh, maybe, out of pure spite. Or for a worse reason. Maybe a smoke flare would bring me some help. I doubted it, though. I was 12 miles out. "20 minutes later, I was sure no help was coming. I'd have to make it to shore on my own, if I could. I ditched my tanks. They were just about empty. I took one last look around and started my unplanned marathon. Four hours is a lot of swimming. I was plenty tired. Still nothing in sight. I didn't know how much longer I could keep going. Then, out of the blue, help appeared. Luckily, the boat headed straight for me. Sure glad you came along, mister.
How much farther is it to shore?
Quite a ways. Sure admire you for trying it.
I didn't have any choice. I was diving. Somebody cut my boat adrift.
That's so? Found a boat a while back, a cabin cruiser.
Oh. Where'd they take it, you know?
Yeah, Purcell's docks. That's where we're heading. Sad thing, cutting a man's boat loose.
Yeah, you can say that again. Plenty sad.
Hey, I recollect hearing about you. You're that fella's been doing that, exploring at the bottom of the bay.
Something like that. I'm making a survey for a pipeline.
Folks here are against it. If I were you, I'd leave off diving in Cato Bay.
I'm sorry. When I start something, I like to finish it.
A man can't always do what he wants to. Never sometimes. What are you doing with that?
I found it down below.
Why would you go and put yourself to the bother of bringing that up?
Just my curiosity, I guess. Why would a thing like this be out there in the bottom of the bay?
Just a piece of tin. If that was me, I'd throw it away.
My curiosity about that piece of tin stayed with me all the way to shore. The minute we landed, I wired the State License Bureau. They answered promptly. The plate had been issued to Emmanuel Cragg, 1053 Palms Avenue, Cato City. At 1053 Palms Avenue, I met Mrs. Emmanuel Cragg. She threw me quite a curve.
And you don't know?
Don't know what?
Craig's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Cragg.
No need to be. Nobody else is, including me. Was a time I would have been. That was long ago.
How long ago did he die?
He's been missing a couple of years now.
Oh, then he might still be alive.
No. No, he's quite dead. I'm sure of that.
Well, doesn't the fact that I found that license plate at the bottom of the bay change things a little? I mean, isn't it possible?
Please, I don't want to listen to morbid theories about my husband. He's gone. That's all there is to it. He's gone. And this thing means absolutely nothing. Just don't want you to go into no more trouble about it.
Trouble?
Well, I mean, I don't rightly know what I mean. Just don't want you wasting time looking, that sort of thing.
Looking for what?
How'd I know? Anything. Fact is, this simply doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm sorry to have bothered you, Mrs. Cragg. If by any chance you would like to see me again, try the bottom of Cato Bay. I might just be there. It was along in here that I picked up the license plate. So that's where I began looking for whatever else it was that Mrs. Cragg didn't want me to learn about her missing husband. That had to be it. The commercial vehicle for which the plate had been issued. A truck, or what was left of it. Cragg's truck. One look told me Cragg hadn't drowned in his truck. I'd found something that explained a lot of other things to me. I saw a boat directly above me. I knew it couldn't be mine. Whose then? And what was it up to? Now I knew what that boat was up to. It was built to catch a lot of fish at one time. Fighting it only turned the net into a spider web, with no way of breaking the strands. Something had to give within minutes, or I'd had it. I'd drown in this spider web on the bottom of Cato Bay. I made one last try at getting my knife to cut myself free. No use. Now a knife was coming straight at me, and the diver behind it seemed to have just one object in mind. I was wrong. He wasn't out to get me. He was out to cut me free.
Yeah. Thanks to you. What's your name?
Ted.
Glad to meet you, Ted. Very glad. You saved my life. Hey, tell me, how'd you happen to be out here anyway? What are you diving for in the middle of the bay?
Well, the fact is, I wanted to meet you. I don't get much of a chance to talk shop with divers like you.
You didn't throw that net down on me, did you? I'd sure like to know who did.
Well, what's the difference? I didn't do it on purpose.
You saw that truck down there.
Yes?
I'm pretty sure it was Craig's. And somebody didn't want me to see it. And if I did see it, they didn't want me to tell anybody about it. But I'm going to.
Well, who are you going to tell? Sheriff Walsh?
Frank Johnson.
Why him?
He's the head of the cooperative here. He's a good man, I understand. I'd rather tell him than that sheriff.
Well, you can usually catch him out by the banks this time of day, a couple of miles farther out.
Huh? You want to come with me?
Sure, I'll come along.
Hoist the anchor for me, will you? Hello again.
Hello, mister.
Mr. Nelson, this is my father. Dad, this
Your
is...
father? Frank Johnson? Hey, why didn't you tell me this before?
Well, what does it matter now?
Dad.
Why did you go out and save him?
I was on my way to see Mr. Nelson when I saw you lose your net. You didn't know he was there. It was an accident, wasn't it?
No.
Look, don't listen to me. Don't know what he's saying.
Did you try to kill me just now?
That doesn't make sense. You saved my life the other day.
No, I didn't.
What do you mean? I could have drowned if you hadn't happened along when you did.
I didn't happen along. I came looking for you. I knew you'd be in trouble.
You did?
I cut your boat adrift. Then later on, I felt I'd done wrong. I had no call to do that to you. Not even knowing if you'd found it yet.
Craig's truck? So, it's been you all along. You were the one who didn't want me to find it, huh?
That's right. Because then you'd know that I killed Craig.
That's enough, Dad. They can't prove a thing.
Yes, they can. I was driving the ferry in those days. The only way that truck could be where he found it is if it came off the boat.
Why? Why did you do it?
It doesn't matter now.
Tell him why. You were man enough to do it. Tell him.
The boy's mother was sickly. She died. There wasn't any money. Craig sold us out, ruined the cooperative. I couldn't give her proper care. There wasn't any money. Then Craig drove aboard one night, waving a gun. I told him to give it over. He wouldn't do it. Instead, he jumped out of the truck and shot at me.
How many times?
Twice. Then everything came up in me. Gun or no gun, I had to hit him. And I hit him till he was dead.
Now what? Go on.
I put him in the truck and let him roll off the ferry. We didn't think anybody'd ever find out.
We? Who else was in on it?
Nobody. Wasn't anyone else but me on board. Seems like the whole town knew. Walsh, Purcell, Burroughs. They never said a word.
Hey, you got a lot of friends here.
Well, we've been through a lot together. I'd hold my tongue for them, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hold mine.
You're going to.
No, Dad, no!
One murder is enough for a man to bear. Guess I should have turned myself in a long time ago.
That's right, but not for murder.
But I killed Craig.
Now you had to defend yourself. He shot at you twice first, you know.
It's easy to say, no way to prove it.
I wonder. This gun carries 6 bullets. Should be 4 left. One, 2, 3, 4. Defense rests.
Think they'd believe me in court?
Well, like I said, you got a lot of friends there. You've also got a friendly witness about the gun. You wouldn't want me to hold my tongue about that now, would you?
Hi there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is certainly a lot of fun, and it's full of adventure. See some more of it again next week, huh? When there'll be another excursion into that fabulous underwater world of Sea Hunt.